Today we are working Psalm 50. Some traditional magical uses for Psalm 50 include to overcome any problem, to find good in unexpected places, for help in healing sickness, and to know that the universe is benevolent and that everything is happening according to plan. Today I'm going to gear Psalm 50 toward overcoming tyrants and hypocrites. So if there's anybody in your life that seems hypocritical and or tyrannical and causing you problems, you can use this to be lifted out of that problem. The way we work psalm magic is simple, easy, and effective. We take the psalm that we're working and we speak it all the way through once without stopping. This we call an incantation. After we have finished our incantation, we go back through the psalm and we consider each verse one at a time. We search for hidden, sometimes called occult, meanings that lie within each verse. These we see as magic seeds. And by contemplating these meanings and trying to apply them to the situation at hand, we are planting these magical seeds deeply into the fertile grounds of our minds, where they take root. They grow, they blossom forth, and they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what you and I are going to do together right now with Psalm 50. The mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion the perfection of beauty God hath shined. Our God shall come, and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. He shall call to the heavens from above and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High. And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. But unto the wicked God saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or what thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee. When thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I keep silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God. The opening, the mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. This is our inner guide speaking to us, and we have come to this psalm for the specific purpose today of becoming free from hypocrisy or from tyranny. But whatever you've brought to this psalm, bring that to mind and hear that inner guide telling you that the infinite, which is the Lord, remember the Lord and God are to us as magicians symbols of the one power, the one source, the one force in all the universe. And there is but one. And everything comes from that one source, and everything returns to that one source. And since there is just one, and nothing but one, there's nothing that can oppose it. There's nothing that can thwart it. So any problems or troubles that we seem to be having in this three-dimensional reality of ours are no match for this power. This is why psalm magic is always so powerful and effective, because we take time to orient ourselves toward the meaning of what the Lord means. The mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken. So the infinite has spoken. Speech in the Psalms is a symbol of will. The infinite speaks into being that which is. So the will of the infinite has already been established. And called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. The earth is all of our experiences here. So no matter where we are within the cycle of manifestation, the infinite is there with us. And no matter what seems to be happening, this infinite power is all-powerful. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Zion is the place within you that you and the infinite are one. Zion is a mountain, and that means that in order for you to experience that oneness, you must do your part. And your part is to call upon the infinite and to do your best to exalt your thoughts to the highest thoughts that you are capable of thinking. That's the symbol of climbing the mountain. And that's where you and the infinite become one. You do your part, and the infinite will do the infinite's part. And our part is really very small. We really only need a willingness to have the healing that we are asking for. That willingness is really all that is necessary. But it's good to show that willingness by doing our best to exalt our thinking to the highest possible thoughts that we're capable of in this moment. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, that is the perfection of beauty, where the infinite and we are one, and God hath shined. That is where the shining happens. And remember, the symbol that we like to use in regards to our relationship with this power is we are as a beam of sunshine directly from the sun. The infinite shines through us as us. Our God shall come and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. To people that are tyrants, to people that are hypocrites, to people that are selfish and cause problems, you get what you give. And the way that you perceive is the way that you receive. And so the infinite is all love. The infinite is all that is good. But the infinite will show up however you put forth your own will in the world. So if you're putting forth evil doings, then the infinite's going to show up as that for you. And it can be very tempestuous. It can seem very scary, especially to the ego mind, because the ego mind gets dissolved in the light of the infinite. He shall call to the heavens from above and to the earth, that he may judge his people. The infinite judging his people, in this particular case, remember the people means your thoughts. So we want the infinite to judge our thoughts so that we can keep the thoughts that are good for us, that are going to create results that we want, and that we can dispose of or eliminate the thoughts that aren't good for us, that we, for whatever reason, have gotten into the habit of thinking. And so the infinite can do that for us if we will let the infinite in. So that is judging the people, is sorting through our mind to let go of everything that is not holy, that is not perfection, that is not organically us. It's because of those thoughts that we're even in this situation where we are having a problem with a tyrant or a problem with a hypocrite. Now, we're not saying that it's our fault and that we are to blame, but we are saying that there is a thought in there that is entertaining this, and we are asking for that thought system or that thought form to be removed. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The saints in the Psalms frequently refer to thought forms that come with our soul. There's thought forms that we create on our own, and that's our job, is to be creative. And so it's good to create our own thought forms, to have our own desires, to do the things we come here to do. Sometimes we get into trouble because we are listening to ego-type thoughts that are based on erroneous assumptions. And so some of the thought forms that we create on our own aren't healthy and they don't help us. But many of our very creative thought forms are wonderful. And that's what we're here to do, is be creative beings. But there are also thought forms that are standard issue, that are just part of the operating system of our soul. And those we call saints. And so the infinite is calling up that program, executing those programs within our deep mind that are called saints. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Sacrifice in this particular psalm means gratitude and thanksgiving. The infinite doesn't need our thanks and our gratitude in order to stroke its ego. The infinite wants us to be grateful and give thanks because it knows it's good for us and it will create what we want. It will give us a good result. In the realm of cause and effect, we want causes that create effects that we desire. And gratitude and thanksgiving are causes that always bring us what we want, and then some. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself. The righteousness of these saints, the righteousness of our soul is what we're talking about. The infinite only sees us as we are, not as we have come to believe we are. So our ego mind and our personalities are usually very different from who we truly are as souls. Because of how we were raised, we pick up habits of thought. We believe in a fearful thought system here, and that's why we are constantly operating in a type of dream world or Maya, illusory experiences. And that's because of the power of our mind to project images onto the screen of space. So a lot of the images that we project onto the screen of space, by habit, we don't even realize we're doing it. We just got into the habit of doing this because the whole human race is in the habit of doing this. A lot of what we experience as problems are the result of those thought forms. I would say all of our problems are a result of those thought forms being projected. When it says, and the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself, we're talking about how the infinite doesn't see things the way our ego sees things. The infinite only knows us as we are as souls. And so that's why the infinite sees us as righteous. Righteous means right thinking, right being. And that's how we were created. And we cannot undo our righteousness. We are righteous for eternity. But we can allow our minds to be held hostage by our own egos and by the demiurge at large, or the collective ego of the human race at large. And we can believe in these images. We can believe in these illusions. We can believe in this dream, and we can suffer. And the infinite's will for us is not suffering. The infinite's will for us is happiness. And so the infinite wants us to realign our minds with the righteousness of who we really are, and to relinquish the ego mind, which is constantly getting us to do things and be things and think things that cause our suffering. So when it says, for God is judge himself, that's what we were talking about earlier. Please judge me. I want you to show me where my righteousness is, and I want you to show me how to dispose of all of the thought forms that are unrighteous, that are not real, that are causing me these problems. Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. My people, all of the thoughts in the infinite's mind, and we are one of the thoughts of the infinite, and all people in our lives are thoughts in the infinite's mind. Israel is the name of the soul. So everybody's Israel. Everybody's got a soul, and everybody's own version of Israel is unique unto them. Just like you have your own thumbprint, the soul has its own identity as well. And so we are all unique, but we are all Israel from the point of view of the symbolism of the Psalms, in that we are all holy souls and we are all righteous. I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. To testify against us doesn't mean testifying against our soul, but to testify against everything that is not our soul, to free us from those egoic thoughts, to free us from the tyranny, to free us from the hypocrisy, whatever these problems are. But what we're doing is we are acting at the realm of cause, which is the mind. That's the only way the infinite can help us. You can't ask the infinite to undo circumstances for you because you haven't healed your mind. It's like saying, please don't let me fall when I jump off this building. That's not going to happen. Because of the law of gravity, you're going to fall. And because of the law of cause and effect, if you have thoughts that are causing problems, just asking for the problems to be taken from you without healing the thoughts that are causing them isn't going to do anything. But when we work psalm magic, we are asking to be changed in the realm of cause, within our minds, within our deep minds. And then not only do the circumstances change, they stay changed. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings, to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Okay, so I put all of those together because they're all talking about the same thing. In all the ancient religions, there was this idea that if we sacrificed that which we needed more of, we would get more. And that's true. That's the ancient fire festival, where you put your grain into the fire and then you get more grain. You put your fruits into the fire and you get more fruits. But when you started to sacrifice livestock, you not only put the livestock into the fire, but you put the pain and the fear of the poor animal into the fire. So then you got more pain and more fear. Watch what you're giving. Watch how you are approaching the infinite. Be mindful of that, because you're going to get back what you give. And so you don't need to sacrifice to the infinite. The infinite doesn't want your sacrifice. The infinite doesn't want you to have pain. The infinite doesn't want you to have penance. The infinite doesn't want you to prostrate yourself. The infinite doesn't want you to flagellate yourself. None of that. None of that is interesting for the infinite, any more than it's interesting for the infinite to get a bunch of dead animals as gifts. You don't need to sacrifice in order to get right with the infinite. You don't need to sacrifice anything or do anything to get the infinite to love you. The infinite already loves you and already wants you to thrive and to be free and to be happy. But in order to do that, the infinite needs to heal your mind. And one of the first things that the infinite heals in our minds is how we perceive the infinite and how we interact with the infinite and how we use our minds with the infinite. We don't need to sacrifice. We don't need to think poorly of ourselves. We don't need to have any sense of false humility. Offer unto God thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High. That's what we can do. That's the only, quote, sacrifice that we make, is to be grateful, is to find something to be grateful about, is to find something to be thankful for. There's got to be some good in your life, something that is working out. Even in the midst of this problem, something is working. And if you can focus on what's working and give thanks, what that does is it puts your mind in alignment with the infinite, so the infinite can ride on the rays of that gratitude to increase your good. So again, the infinite doesn't need your gratitude because the infinite expects you to say thank you. What's wrong with you? You're not saying thank you to me. That's not it at all. It's that the infinite understands that gratitude is the vehicle through which all your good will come to you. Then it says, once you're in that perspective of gratitude and thanksgiving and joy and not sacrificing, not feeling bad about yourself, not being down on yourself, once you're in that frame of mind, then call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. The way that you glorify the infinite is to allow the infinite to help you. Isn't that nice? You don't glorify the infinite abstractly. You glorify the infinite by allowing the problem to be solved. So you go through gratitude in order to connect with the infinite. Then you tell the infinite what's wrong and allow the infinite to solve the problem. And that is how you glorify the infinite, is to get your problem solved. But unto the wicked God saith, what hast thou done to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldst take my covenant in thy mouth? This is the hypocrisy here that we're addressing. You don't play lip service to the infinite. That doesn't do you any good. Playing lip service, oh, I love the infinite, oh God, praise the Lord, doesn't do a darn thing. The only thing that does any good is to put yourself on the beam of where you and the infinite are one. That's climbing up Zion, exalting your mind, getting your mind straight, getting your mind clear, getting your mind focused on the goodness of the infinite through gratitude, and then allowing that infinite healing force to do its work through you. That's how you do it. But you don't play lip service and expect anything to happen. If you play lip service to God, if you play lip service to the infinite, what you're doing is you're doubling down on your hypocrisy. And that's the thing that one of the reasons why we've come to this psalm today is to become free of hypocrisy. So we have to free ourselves from any internal hypocrisy, and that immediately frees us from the external hypocrisies. Seeing that thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee. When you don't listen and you're not willing to be guided and led, then you're going to lead yourself off a cliff. That's the whole idea of the ego. The ego's game is to get you to seek for things that you cannot find, to be busy doing things that will never make you happy, to be chasing after carrots that you can never obtain. The ego is all about seek but don't find, so that you can feel bad. You can be upset, but very busy and constantly trying to fix something that you aren't going to fix. It's sort of like the person that goes into the casino and says, well, maybe just one more spin. Well, maybe just one more spin. And even if they do get a little jackpot, it's nice, but that doesn't stop them, because then they think, well, I got that jackpot. Maybe I'll get another jackpot. And so then they lose it all. The infinite doesn't operate a casino. The infinite operates Zion. And Zion is where everything works out perfectly for us. Everything is permanently perfect for us. The ego, on the other hand, wants to distract you so you never climb up that mountain. The point of all of that is, if you're focusing on what the ego is dangling in front of you, you're not listening to the infinite, and you're going to fall off the cliff, because that's where the ego is pointing you. Fall off a cliff, and then you become part of Sisyphus, where you're always pushing a boulder up the mountain, and then you let the boulder go down the mountain, and you push the boulder up the mountain, and you let the boulder go down the mountain. That's the game of the ego, and the infinite wants you to stop that. And you stop that by listening to your inner guidance. When thou sawest a thief, and then thou contentst with him, and hast been a partaker with adulterers. This is talking about how you just go along with the ego, going along with the ego. The adulterer is the ego, always going against what is good for you, always going against what is in your nature as a soul. A thief, that is the ego, is trying to rob you of your experience with the infinite, and always trying to create a counterfeit paradise for you that never makes you happy. This is reflected in the way that you're being treated now. So like we said before, we can't just say, please take this mean person away from me, if we're not willing to do the work necessary for there to be an inner structure by which that can occur. And this is where the rubber meets the road in the Psalms, as we say, okay, where am I being a hypocrite? Where am I allowing myself to be tyrannized or tyrannize myself in any way? I'm willing to let that go. I'm willing to see that and let it go. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Any time you are under the spell of the ego, that's what you're doing. And the thing is the ego doesn't exist, but you do. So the ego doesn't suffer, you do. Right? The ego is a habit of thinking that you got into probably many, many, many lifetimes ago and haven't really realized it, because you've been part of this dream, this ongoing dream over and over again. So you are the one that pays the price for that. The ego doesn't pay for anything, because the ego is nothing but an apparition. Don't let the ego bully you or connive you into thinking, speaking, or doing anything other than that which is righteous, that which is the impulse of your soul. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. We don't want to do that. Obviously, we don't want to misuse our words to speak ill of one another. But we want to take this more esoterically. Listen to what we say about ourselves. What do you think about yourself? What do you allow yourself to say, even under your breath, that's so vicious? Because if you are saying anything mean or vicious about another person, I guarantee you it pales in comparison to the way you treat yourself. And the ego is so sly and so cunning, it likes to put a veil over that so you don't notice it. You get distracted, so you never notice how mean you are to yourself. So just notice that that happens and be committed to say, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. Old habit of mine, dropping that habit. I'm not worried about it. I'm just giving it up. I'm being kind to myself. I'm being loving with myself. I'm allowing myself to exist as a soul, because that's the infinite's will for me. The infinite doesn't want to punish you. The infinite doesn't want anything but happiness for you. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. So in this way, it sounds like the infinite's going to judge you in a harsh way and punish you. It seems like the infinite is mean from the perspective of the ego when things get healed. Imagine how a virus must feel when the virus gets killed. It's just like, the infinite's so mean to me. Well, that's exactly what the infinite is addressing here, are all the viruses within your mind that are the result of that egoic, mean-spirited talk and ideas that we have about ourselves. We're going to let those scatter. We're going to let those go and allow the infinite to clean that out for us. And when we clean that out, all the tyrants in our lives, all the hypocrites in our lives don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance because they have no more footing. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you into pieces and there be none to deliver. And that is, again, speaking to those errant thought forms within your mind. I'm not putting up with this anymore. And you say that to yourself, no. I'm not allowing myself to be anything but kind, anything but loving. Sometimes I have to be stern with myself. That's fine. Sometimes I really need to make sure that I hold myself accountable. Sometimes I really need to discipline myself, but I do that out of love, just like a parent does that out of love with their child. It's not being mean to myself. What's being mean to myself is the way I've been up until now, and I'm going to allow the infinite to clean that out. And anytime I notice that, I will call upon the infinite and ask for that to be cleaned out and tear it into pieces. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me. So you want to glorify the infinite, you just find things to be grateful about. You no longer waste your time being mean to yourself. Again, if you're being mean to somebody else, you don't want to do that, but still, if you're being mean to somebody else, that is a pale comparison to what you're doing to yourself. So we're not doing that anymore. Anytime we notice that, we just let ourselves off the hook and we pivot right to gratitude, right to thanksgiving, right to joy. And we make that our discipline. And to him that ordereth his conversation aright, I will show the salvation of God. And that's what we're talking about with this whole psalm, that you're going to order your conversation. In other words, you're going to focus your mind on your soul, not on your ego, and you're going to allow yourself to be loving to yourself and to allow the righteousness of your soul to shine through and no longer be snowed by your ego. And always, anytime you're wondering, anytime you're confused, anytime you're afraid, you turn that mind to the infinite and allow the infinite to teach you and to guide you, and you will always get to where you need to be. So you just keep coming back to the same psalm again and again. Once a day is fine, until you get a sense of peace and certainty that all is working out. And you'll get a sense, it feels like a click to me, where I'm no longer worried about the problem. I just really feel good about it. I know that everything's working out. Even if I don't see any evidence in the physical world, it doesn't matter to me. I just know, I feel that peace. I feel that certainty. When I feel that, I know that means that my spell has been cast. Once your spell's been cast, you stop it. You don't cast anymore. You just move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.